So we have Janet from Pivot Point. Hi, Janet. How are you? Lovely to see you again. Anita from Excellent Solutions. We've got Sharon from Leek in Staffordshire. Great to have you with us. Sharon, we've got Lisa from ETS North. And we've got level 1 and level 2 class here. So big welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining us this morning. We've got some great stuff. We've got Meg, who's one of our guests. So hi there, Meg. Glad you're here. We've got Claire from Maltings Academy. Hi, Claire. We've got Nicolay from, I can't remember where you're from, Nicolay. I think it's from London. But great to have you with us
Yes.
Anyway. We've got Geraldine from West Lothian College. Nice to see you again, Geraldine. We've got Marie from Westro Academy in Leeds. Oh, yeah, fantastic. We had a brilliant collective live there, so that's fantastic. We've got Adele Grant Kelly, and she's from AK Aesthetics, so that's brilliant. We've got Sharon from Ireland, so brilliant to have you with us as well. We've got the level 2 group from Bridlington. Again, big welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's really good. We've got Joanna from Anglesey College. We've got Alison. Great to have you with us, Alison. Elaine from Anglesey. Hilary from Academy Hair and Beauty Belfast. We had a great visit there not long ago with our collective live event there. So great to have you with us this morning, Hilary. We've got Joanne. They're from Savannah. Oh no, it's Savannah Anjo, sorry, and that's from Southampton College. New to VTCT. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. We've got a really packed agenda today. We've got Juliet, we've got Gail, we've got Sharon, and that's level 2 barbers as well from Squires Academy. So we've got a really big audience with us this morning. So all I can say is a massive welcome to you. And we've got Eliza Brooker as well. So we will get on with the show, so to speak. If you're new to the collective, then my name is Mark Raymond. I'm the development manager for VTCT Skills, and I'm here along with my colleague.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I am Nicola Steinbach, if you've not already met me, and I am the development manager for hairdressing. It looks like we've got a really busy group of you joining us, and it's fantastic to have students join us today, and also some new faces as well. So really hope that you enjoy this. We are recording this session, so if you are watching it later, that's absolutely fine. Thank you for taking the time to watch us. If you are dipping in and out of work today, out of your class or whatever you're doing, don't worry, you will be sent this recording afterwards, so you'll be able to use this again yourself and watch it at a later date. Okay, can I just ask you if you have joined us to make sure that you keep your camera on mute just now, please, as well.
I'm still logged in.
Brilliant. Okay, so for our agenda this morning, as you know, or if you don't know, if this is your first time, we always have guest speakers, and today we've got Meg Piper from the Solstice Hair Studio. Meg has been one of our guests on the collective live events, and she always goes down popular. Our second guest will be Alison Asprey from Trico Care Education. And we're looking forward to that. Then we're going to give you some updates. We're going to be talking about the VTCT Excellence Awards, also how we're supporting the AHT competitions, and we've got the dates for that as well. We're going to give you some updates on the collective live tour as well, and then we have the details of our next meeting. So to move forward, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague, Nicola.
Okay, everybody. So you are in for a treat this morning with our first guest. As Mark has already mentioned, we are being joined by Meg Piper. And Meg Piper is the owner of Solstice Hair Studio in Manchester. Meg is also an award-winning session stylist. She has done so many different things within her career, a real diverse mix of things. And we've been really honoured to have Meg join us on our collective live tour. My goodness, I think you've been doing it since we started, so 3 years now. So Meg's been with us all the way along on this journey. And we have asked her to come along today because we really wanted to share the creativity and the messaging that Meg gives through her work with the collective audience. And we're doing something slightly different today. So Meg has very kindly pre-recorded a haircut. And Meg is we're going to play the video just now. And Meg is then
Voices come through now, but the volume won't seem to go up. Have you done get your headphones
Let
on?
me just mute Alison. So let's go over to Meg. Meg, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to just have you on the screen. Mark is just working through. This is the first time we've done this, guys, so bear with us. If you can just go on to the video, Mark.
No, it still can't. It's really quiet. Oh, maybe. Oh, no, it's
Somebody, just before we start that, somebody.
It's
not
Alison Collins. Can you keep yourself on mute, please? I can't find you now. I was.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to start the video.
Amazing. So today, guys, I wanted to show you how my world of fashion and my creativity kind of collide within the premise of Behind the Chair. And I wanted to show you guys how I do that really like trendy, really sort of on the trends, Sabrina Carpenter look. So obviously we know that layers are all coming back. So this is exactly how I would show you how to do it. So I'm using a razor today and I've started off, I like to start with the focal point of my haircuts. And as you saw, I took that little triangle section because I wanted a little soft fringe like Sabrina Carpenter has, where she has just a little bit of coverage. It's not really a fringe, but just a little bit of something. So I twisted that round in my fingers and I cut horizontally with my razor. I've got a feather razor in my hand there. And I'm just checking to see how it's going to sit on my client's glasses because I'm really big on framing that face and making sure that it'll work for that client. So you'll see me then taking from the side, I go each side one by one. So on the first side, on that left side, I'm now going to bring everything forward and to that guideline that I cut with my fringe. So everything has been cut on a 45-degree angle and I'm not really using that much elevation. For me, the difference between when you do a Sabrina Carpenter look, you need sort of a bit more bluntness through the ends. So I like to keep the elevation low. If you bring it up too high, you're going to end up more with like a shag cut kind of look. So I kept that elevation low, but keeping that 45-degree angle. And I start moving my way back through the head, taking inch sections each time and bringing it all forward to that static point. You'll notice when I cut, I'm a very static cutter. I was originally Sassoon trained. So basically you plant your feet on the floor and you do not move from that section.
It's muted for some reason.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
cool. Yeah.
So
yeah, I've just kept working back in those inch sections on that vertical and bringing it all forward to that point. Like I said, I don't move my feet. I'm very planted on the floor and everything comes back to that first section. That way that I know it's going to be even when that side comes through. It's really nice that way because you don't have to worry too much about, making sure where your layers are going and everything like that, because you always know that you're building a little bit of length as you work back through the head. And that's going to flow really nicely from that front section coming all the way back. So that's what I keep doing all the way. And then I go to probably behind the back of the ear. I like to work my haircut in 3 sections. So I'm going behind the back of the ear, on both sides, and then I work the back separately. I'm a big visual checker as well, so you'll notice quite a lot that I stop and I take a step back and I look at everything and see how it's going to fall. I work with natural fall a lot, so I'm going to be you'll see me scrunching the hair up a little bit because we're going to be wearing this with a bit of texture. So I always want to make sure that that is going to sit perfectly as I do it. I'm going to bring you forward now so you can see that. I'm going to check that section and check how it's sitting. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. And this makes sure that everything is even by the time I finish. I'm using the same angles. I'm using the same method where I've planted my feet, and I bring everything to me to make sure that then each section is going to be 100% 100% even. So there's the angle that I'm showing you. It's at 45 degrees, a little bit downwards and cutting round. Just creates that kind of nice, really like blown out, really layered look. It's funny with these kind of looks because, as we all know, trends really come and go and come back again. So this realistically isn't dissimilar from what we were seeing in the 90s when the Rachel came in, like really big. So it is almost pretty much the same cut, just with a little bit more softness, I would say, and we don't really style it the same. So that's where you get the difference in what you would see if clients coming in saying they want a look like Sabrina Carpenter compared to things that we've seen previously. So I'm working through my other section, my other side now. My client had no layers in their hair whatsoever. So we're cutting quite a bit off, and you'll always notice that. And I do pre-warn my clients that a little bit with these type of looks, because if you start cutting at the front of the head and they see there's about this much coming off, it can freak people out a little bit. So I do always warn them and say, we're going to be cutting quite a bit off your hair today, don't be concerned, it's fine. But to get that really layered full look around the face, you have to have short layers. It's just the way it is. The top section on that client's hair has been cut to, I would say, maybe about 6 inches. It's not too short either, but it's just enough to get a lot of volume in her hair. She's got quite fine hair, so it's nice to be able to get that oomph at the top and make sure we can see all those layers coming through. So now again, I'm visually checking. You can see me there making any adjustments that I want to as I'm going through that cut. But like I said, I'm a very visual checker. I will cross check later once I've done my full haircut. But I like to work visually. And you can see me pushing it in exactly in the place that I know it's going to sit, because I think that's really important. I would rather have a cut look right when it's sat how the client's going to wear it than it be, technically 100% on each side. So now I'm going to work through my back section. On this back section, I am literally doing the exact same motion. I'm bringing everything forward through the head, and then I'm cutting again from the exact same space. You can see on the curvature of the head, if I'm above the curvature of the head, everything goes forward and above, and then from where the sort of width is the most on your client's hair, I bring that kind of down this way. Just means that I can get those layers nice and short throughout the top and still maintain as much length. I actually didn't cut any length off this client's hair. I blended all my layers back in. So I again work in that literally like an inch section, and I keep bringing it forward through it. It's a little bit easier. You don't have to kind of go through all of this. If you're cutting it, I was just moving out the way so you guys could see. But I just spin my client as I'm going to see to do it. It's quite an easy one. And then you can stay exactly still. So I'm just taking that layer in through. Again, cutting exactly the same angle all the way through the head, just to make sure that everything is nice and even when I do. And I work pretty much to the back, all the way to the back. So you basically just split straight down the center. So I'm just using my feather razor, just gliding it down. I've used a new blade because we always should use new blades on clients. I love razor cutting, and I know it can be a little bit of a taboo subject for people, and especially clients. I think a lot of people have PTSD from the whole Rachel era in the early 2000s, but as long as you're using a fresh blade, you will be fine. It's not going to snag the hair. It's not going to do anything crazy to the hair. So just make sure you're using a fresh blade, which I have done here. So that is me working all that section through, and you can see you're starting to get that really nice shape through the side, and that's where I've worked it to all the way to the back there. So I'm just going to take this last section in the back of my client's head. And don't worry at this point, if you start dropping hair, That's totally fine. If you've dropped it, it means that it's not long enough, and that's okay. It can just fall out. Don't be concerned that you have to kind of cut every bit of the head. It's okay if it drops out. If it drops out, just leave it there, and then you can go in and check your guideline and check your length at the bottom afterwards. Just let it fall. Sometimes you find some people have some differences in that back, so that's okay. And I'm doing it through this side again. Like I said, just if it's above the curvature of the head, I'm bringing it above the head, and then if it's not, I'm going to bring it to the side there and cut down. And this again, it's exactly the same method. I'm very big in my cutting and being very methodical. It's funny because if you'll see some of my work, I do quite a lot of creative cutting, what you class as very creative. But because of how I was trained and because I'm sassoon trained, my fundamentals pretty much always stay the same within my haircuts. So it's really nice to have that kind of solid foundations that I've set within my haircuts, and then I can bespoke, I can be a bit more creative later. People do it differently, but that's personally the way that I like to do it. I like to have that balance in my cuts before I even bespoke it. So I've shown you a different angle there so you can see the angles that I'm working at, how I'm working down the head in those little inch sections, and I'm keeping that 45-degree angle just to make sure that I'm cutting down. And we're going to maintain all that length through that back section. There we go, in that last bit. So now once I've done that and I've brought all my cut all the way forward, this is where I'm going to start checking and making sure that everything is even all the way through. So like I said, I'm a big visual cutter. I like to see how it's going to fall. You'll see me playing with the hair a lot, picking it up, scrunching it, because this is such a textured cut and it's going to be worn, it's going to be worn, blow dried and flicked and things. So I need to make sure how that hair is falling is going to work when the hair is actually dried. I do cross-check now just to make sure, just in case there's anything that's a little bit outlying, that's a little bit too crazy, and I will take that off. But I am, like I said, like a visual checker. You can start to see now the hair naturally falls in that kind of position where it's like swooping. And that's because you've cut at that 45-degree angle. You've made sure that when it comes forward, it's like the way I like to think about how you're cutting hair in this scenario is like when you do ribbon curling. So if you have a ribbon curl with a ribbon and scissors, when you do it, when you score your scissors down one side, it actually curls the opposite way. And it's the same principle that I'm adding to this haircut now. So whichever way I've cut it this way, it's actually going to fall the opposite. So it flicks around. And that's kind of the principle that I've added to this cut. So I'm just now checking through my cut, making sure everything's fine. If there's any little bulkiness towards the bottom because the hair's dropped out, you might see me pick it up. Notice there's a little bit of bulkiness, and I'm just going to take that out. You can see me doing that there, actually. I think, yeah, do that in a second. So that was just a little bit where I had too much thickness in the ends. I want some thickness, but I don't want it to be too blunt towards those ends. Just for the way that my client's hair falls, I just think it looks a little bit better. So let's just check through these top sections now, just to make sure they're even. Like I said, we like to make sure things are technical, but I'm very big on my visual. So here is it dried, and I've just blow dried it, just a little bit smooth so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm actually going to be adding my bespoke texture to it now. So I use the exact same principle when I'm doing my texture and when I'm doing bespoking my cut. So I'm using texturizing scissors or thinning scissors. So these are designed to add that little bit of texture to the ends, and I'm keeping it on that 45-degree angle. And you can see as I'm going through, I'm actually bringing my scissors round so that it kind of creates that swoop. And what it does is it almost creates, like, I like to think of it as little air pockets within the hair. And when those air pockets fall, it's going to mean that it swoops around the other way because it's going to fall back on itself. And that's what I do. So I create a shorter piece here, and then it gets longer as the texture comes around, and it's going to create that really nice swoop. And I basically do it in that motion as I'm coming around. Now I'm just checking through, specifically through where my cut meets. So like I said, I work in 3 sections, to the side, one side each and the back. So I pay particular attention to like this part of the hair where the ear is, which is where my cut kind of joins together in those sections, just to make sure that that isn't bulky. And that's what I was doing on that side. And now I'm doing the same on the opposite side. It becomes a little bit tricky depending on which your dominant hand is. So be careful. You can see on this side, it looks like I'm bringing it round more, but it's actually to overcompensate for the fact that my body wouldn't naturally move that well on that side, because it's not as dominant to me. And that's why you can see that it looks like I'm putting more of an angle on that side, but I'm just overcompensating for how your body doesn't move the same on both sides depending on how dominant you are on each side. So that's why I'm doing that. There, I dropped my comb. But you know, it happens. I nearly smacked her in the head with it, but it was all right. Thankfully, it's my sister, so she won't complain. But then, just making through, I'm going through that back section again, bringing it up. So I've got that it got a little bit of elevation to make sure those ends aren't too bulky in there. So you can see there's a little bit of bulky in that. So I'm just going to take that out. And again, cutting at an angle and keeping that going. Just creates everything on that, everything's doing the same sort of thing. It's got a bit of synergy all the way through the cut. And that's what I really like with this sort of style. Here it is blow dried. So I curled it after this. It was already blow dried, but here's it nice and dry and in that kind of Sabrina Carpenter-esque sort of style. And here we can see we have a little short, little fringe, a little wispy fringe that sits beautifully on her glasses, and it's really layered and really just full and lush all the way through those ends. And that's the back of it. That's how I created it.
That is beautiful, Meg.
Thank
really,
you.
really gorgeous. And thank you for, first of all, thank you for recording it for us and then talking it through with everybody this morning. Can you just go back, Mark, please, 1 sec? I've got a couple of questions for you. And then I'm going to put it out to anyone else if they've got any questions, because particularly today, because we've got some students on the call, or at least watching this at some point. So I think it's really good that you refer to some sort of key areas. So razor cutting.
Yes.
And I know you talked about it's quite fearful for people. Have you got any top tips or kind of key learns for getting comfortable and confident with using a razor?
Yeah, so I think about my razor cutting in a completely different way almost to how I think about if I'm cutting with the scissors. And it's going to sound a little bit difficult, but it's not as scary as it seems. I think razor cutting is a bit more sculptural, so it's a bit more visual. And what I always think about when I'm razor cutting, angles, to make it less scary, angles really matter to how you're cutting the hair. So if you're really thinking about the principles, go all the way back to, or if you're a student, to what you're learning currently. What happens if I bring that up at 90 degrees? You're going to see that even more with a razor compared to how you would with scissors. So just make sure that you're thinking about where your elevation is and where you're pulling that hair is actually going to be a lot more obvious. And I would say make sure you have a clean and new razor in your blade. That's going to be better. I've got a really interesting razor where it actually twizzles at the top, and I think that's a lot easier. A lot of razors are quite static, but my razor twizzles at the top, and they're really good for someone that's beginning because you can turn the blade around, and I think that's a really good tool to use when you're first starting out, because then you feel a bit cack-handed when you first start razoring. So it's a good tool to have that.
And is twizzle a technical term? I've never heard a razor that twizzles at the top.
I'm going to say it is. It's like on a joint in the center, so you can completely turn it around. Whereas you usually have a blade that is on a static kind of thing. It's got a joint in the middle, and it moves around either side, so you can flip it whichever way you want to cut with it.
And then another thing that you explained very well is that you obviously razor cut it when it was wet, and then you tapered it with tapering blades when it was dry.
Yes.
Were you looking to create the same effect that you did with the razor, or were the tapering blades for a different purpose?
So I like to use them to gain quite a similar effect. I would never use a razor on dry hair, but I want to make sure that I'm maintaining that. If I razored everything, I end up with a lot more, a lot of thinning towards the end of those layers. And if I then went in with my scissors, you'd blunt it out too much. So I use those tapering scissors instead, so that it's not as blunt on those ends.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And then whilst we haven't talked about this, and it wasn't the purpose, it was the haircut, can you just give us a little run through of what was happening with the color, because it looked really interesting, and Vivids is your bag, isn't it?
It is.
You've been doing Vivids on tour for us this year, which has been really well received. So I'd love
Yes.
to hear and share with everybody else what you've done with the colour.
Yeah, so previously my client had come in and we'd done red and green at Christmas. So she had this green face frame and then it was red everywhere else. And she came back in and wanted a change, but that green hadn't budged at all. And I didn't, we were discussing what to do with it and kind of what we would sort of the goal is actually to get her back to yellow in the summer. So I'm really big on, I don't bleach a lot of my vivids out. I don't necessarily believe in leaving it as a stylist. I think it compromises the hair too much. So we worked with what we had. We kept the green exactly the way it was. I actually didn't touch that. Then behind, what I did is she had like essentially a 666 on the top of her to give her like a fake root. So that's a intense red, but it's a permanent color. And then we'd gone into a demi-permanent red on the ends. So what I decided to do was I cancelled out a bit of the red on her root with a permanent colour, and I used a 607, which is a matte colour. So it's got that green in it, which is going to cancel out some of that red. And then through the ends, I used a pure yellow pigment. We've started using You've within our salon, which is a whole new technology. But they have a pure yellow pigment, and I put the pure yellow pigment over the ends because their ends are kind of faded enough for me to do that, and it created that kind of peachy, mustardy kind of tone through the ends. Like I said, I'm very much a vivid artist that works with what I've got fade wise. Instead of trying to completely change things, take things out, bleach it, color removers, I don't really do stuff like that. I'll work within my color wheel, know my color theory knowledge. That means that I can change that color without doing those steps.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that we never lose sight of what are the basic principles of color and how they work.
Exactly.
One last thing from you, please. What's going to be big this year, 2025? Sorry to throw that on you, but
All right.
because you do Fashion Week, I know you've just won a scholarship, haven't you, with the Fellowship of British Hairdressing? So
Yes.
you're right at the forefront of what's going on. So tell us about the scholarship and tell us what to look for in 2025.
Yeah, so I was really fortunate to receive a scholarship with Fellowship this year. I am on the hair.com scholarship. So that basically it's a whole big thing, but it entails me working with each member of the hair.com team, and they range from educators to session stylists to celebrity stylists to Ashley Hodges, who is the president of the fellowship, and I get to spend a day with each of them, at least a day actually. It probably will end up quite a bit more, working sort of within their remit of what they do and what they are. So obviously I'm very excited for like the session bit of it, as we all know, like I'm a session stylist. But from what I've seen from, what I'm going to be doing next month, because London Fashion Week is next month, it's in February, there seems to be a very transition into very style-wise, very soft feminine layers, really hyper feminine sort of looks, really, I would say. Like with this whole layering coming back, we're sort of getting in, not in a cutesy way, almost in quite a sexy way, I would say, but it's very ultra feminine at the moment. And obviously with colour now, the Pantone colour of the year this year was Mocha Mousse, which is I would say quite a beigey brunette sort of tone. And that will definitely be big because it's a very easy commercial colour that we can do within the salon. And I think realistically, we'll see a lot more people going darker, going into that more brunette zone, bronze kind of tones, all that type of things. I think we're going to go a little bit away from blondes this year and definitely go into the more beigey, mockery tones, definitely.
Loving that. So feminine, sexy, layered, and mocha.
Yes.
You
Yeah, I
heard
would
it
say
here
so.
first, everybody. You heard it here first. And finally, Meg, if anyone wants to speak to you about education, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram. So I think my Instagram handle comes up. So it's Meg_Piper_. And I also run a education academy, which is actually primarily based on business. And that is Solstice_Business Academy, where we teach how the fundamentals of business and how to sort of run a business in 2025. If you have no experience or you just need a refresher, that's what we teach all day, every day. So it's great.
Oh, well, listen, Meg, it has been all a joy, as always, working with you. And thank you so much for taking the time to prepare the video for us and join us today. As always, you have been super. So thank you,
Thank
Meg.
you.
And we will move on to our next guest speaker. Thanks, Meg. Okay, so now on to something very different but equally as exciting is our next guest speaker. And this topic was requested regularly by a large percentage of all of our community. And one of the things that Mark and I always talk about, and we always say to everybody that joins the collective, is what do you want to hear about? Is there any guest speakers you want to hear about? Are there any topics? And this topic has come up consistently. So you ask and we shall deliver. So I'm really, really pleased to say that today we are joined by Alison Asbury, who is the lead education at Trico Care Education. So straight over to you, Alison. Thank you for joining us. And
Good morning.
could you just start by telling us a little bit about who you are and what's your background, please?
Yeah. So my background is I am a hairdresser. I'm still a working hairdresser as well, but I'm very much in the education field. I have been for the last probably 25 years. I've worked at colleges. I've been vice principal at college and worked with lots of different areas, but hair and beauty is really where my passion is. When the diploma came out, the 16 to 18 diploma came out, I was a bit of a science specialist, and we used to all go up to York University and deliver on the science behind hairdressing because I'm really passionate about that. And then I met Brian Plunkett, who's our chairman of Tricare Education, and got involved with trichology. I just like the science bit, really. I don't look like Rachel from Friends, but I like the science bit. So it was an opportunity to get involved with education and trichology. It's just a fascinating subject. It's a massive growth industry. I was in a conference yesterday talking about the new diet jabs that are out and how that's impacting on people's hair, because obviously rapid weight loss can impact on people's hair. So it's a huge area and it's changing all the time, which is really exciting for us. So we're always looking to how we can help people. And we do call it their crowning glory. And it literally is people, are very aware. So we try and work our education, and I just thought I'd talk you through a little bit about what we do this morning and some opportunities and answer any questions really people have got. So I hope that helps.
Excellent, thank you. And I know that you and we've met a few times now, and I personally am really, really interested in trichology as well. And we were talking about exactly what you said there. It's the growth in it as a career opportunity. It's something that's really it's a pathway that more and more people are getting interested in now, aren't they? Okay, so you have some slides. Are you okay to share your slides with us, please?
Yeah, there you go. Let me see if I can share it. Let's just put in slideshow in the beginning. Okay, so this is kind of who I am. So as I say, my background is very much about education, and I've come into Trico Care as the education lead, and we've looked at very much, we use the pandemic, how we move the course online, because we're very aware of how people can actually attend the course. So we've spent a lot of time moving it onto that, which is nice, gives people an opportunity. So what is trichology? And it is the science basically of the hair and the scalp. It's something that we work a lot with doctors and medical people, because it's something that you can investigate further and further. And GPs more and more are looking out in lots of services to help other people to help and look and get ideas. We have a very fine line. We know where we don't cross. So we don't teach people, we're not white coat people. We don't teach to be doctors, and you can't prescribe afterwards. Trico Education, we're very ethical. We don't sell any products, we don't encourage you, but we do investigate and talk through the products with people. But it's about, we don't actually sell anything, it's about understanding about your hair. So when you've trichologists, they have the knowledge to investigate and in some cases treat hair and scalp disorders. So it's the idea that they can look at dietary, understanding nutrition, understanding what's happening behind, having the time to sit down and talk to people and understand what's happening behind the hair and scalp issues and what may be causing them, and just looking at those things. And we always refer up to pharmacists, GPs, wherever. We know where the line is. So we are not white coat doctors. We literally pass things on. So TRICARE education, we have been working for 20 years in education, and we work very closely with high-tech VTCT. It's the only regulated qualification. Our level 4 is the only government regulated qualification in the UK at the moment. So when you've got that qualification, you do get the off-qual on your certificate, so you know the levels, and you all know your VTC centres, so you know how we go through quality checks, external checks, to make sure that the quality is there. And that to us is a real privilege, really, that we can work with someone like VTCT to make sure that our standards are there. So this is our vision. So we've spent a lot of time, like everybody's deciding what our vision is. We're dedicated to improving the health, well-being and self-care in society. Our students, just so you know, we are international. We've got students all over the world that log into us. We've got ranges of students. We've got people who have got self-interest. We have people who've maybe themselves suffered hair loss or scalp problems, through to people working in care homes and seeing this thing on a daily basis. We have nurses, we have medical practitioners, we have GPs. So we have a big range of people who are interested in this area who come. So we're committed to making sure that we are dedicated to giving this right vision for people. We're convinced that the profession can make a positive contribution. At the moment, we also run a charitable part of the business through the art, which is our association. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But we actually make sure that we are helping people. So we make sure that we've got a charitable arm that helps people. Our ambition is to elevate our communicating professionally. We want to be professional. We want trichology to be a route for people. We've just had a student just completed, and she said now she does 2 days in front of the chair and 2 days behind the chair, and she can actually sit down. So in front of it, she's sitting down, she's talking to the clients, and she's dealing with scalp problems. She felt that it was good to move on from actually standing. And we all know, those of you that's been a long time in the industry, standing behind a chair all day is hard work. If you can actually sit down and talk to your clients as well, you can discuss things. The great thing with trichology is things like AI coming along. You can do, lots of our people do online consultations. Everybody's got a smartphone. You can take a picture of your scalp, you can upload it, you can discuss it, and then it works really well for people. So it's a really nice career that you can work around, life and working in the salon or not working in the salon, and it gives people an opportunity to actually build those skills. So that's kind of where we are, and our ambition is that trichology becomes the norm. Rather than going to the GP, you might go to a trichologist first. So we're very keen to build trichology, just like people go to the physio or you go to somebody else, you'll go to the trichologist if you've got a problem with your scalp, and it is growing. So that's something we're working with. I say we've been delivering for over 20 years. Our flagship is the level 4 certificate, because it's a regulated qualification through VTCT, and it is the only regulated qualification on the UK. If you go on the government website, it is the only one that is there, and it's international. We have students from all over the world. We've had 2 students join this week from Phoenix, Arizona. People coming from all over the world joining us, which is great. And it's really interesting to talk to them so that you get an idea of how they do it. Entry criteria, we do have an entry criteria for level 4, and I think that's really important. So you have to have a level 3 qualification or above and have been working in the industry or have some related. We have people with all sorts of backgrounds come to us, and we check everyone. So there is an entry criteria for the full level 4 to make, again, that's awarding bodies are asking for it. We're making sure we put the right learner, right course. I'll talk a little bit about other courses in a moment, but it is all about just having dabbing your toe in, looking at scalp and starting to understand it. This is our program. This is just, we've put this in for everybody. It's a comparison of how some of the other people that are delivering it out there. Let's say we are the only regulated one. So I will share this with everybody afterwards. So I'm just going to go through it quite quickly, but we will share this with you. I'll go back too quick now. Oh, where have I gone to? Sorry, get too carried away. There we go. Let's just put that into slideshow. Current slide. Sorry, everybody. This is our course catalogue, which we're going to talk you through. So we do very small courses. We do the infection prevention. In fact, we're at the moment looking at another course with that as a short course to when we have the week in March. So we're looking at doing something with that. The reading blood test result, that's for people who've actually got the certificate. That's a postgrad, because quite often people go to the doctors and you get your blood results, and they're very short. They just tell you, yes, you need this, and sometimes there's lots of things you want to talk. So this is about being able to read the results. It's not about taking blood, but we do have people who've gone on and done the bloods course, but it's not something we do. We very much stay within the remit of non-medical, non-invasive. We do an introduction to trichology course, which is for people who just think, well, I might be interested in it, I might not be interested, just have a little bit of a taster. All these are CPD assured again, and I know we're all getting our CPD together for the year, so these are really nice courses just to have a go at. The conditions of the hair and scalp, I've managed to persuade our team to give me that as a bit of an offer today, which we'll send you at the end. That is actually part of the level 4. When you've completed it, you actually the money's deducted off your main level 4 certificate. It fits in as it's not actually a unit. We've moved everything to modules because it covers everything in the conditions of the hair and scalp. So you get a good opportunity to look at all the different hair and scalp conditions. There's 15 of them all together that you study in that. So that's a really nice course for people. This is a few of our people. You may know some people, you may not. Jackie McIntosh views VTCC, so you know Jackie. Will Fleeson, he is Rainbow Rooms, and he's trichology. He's moving massively with that. So we've got lots of people. David Velstead, we've got people in Joshua Galvin, we've got people in Malta. All sorts of people have done the course and moved on to use trichology for their futures and enjoying it. And we always keep people very much to share when we're on the level 4 certificate. When you get partway into the course, we don't put people straight into a WhatsApp group, because sometimes you get a bit nervous that somebody else seems to be doing better than you. We're all quite competitive. So once you've got the first couple of modules down and you're confident what you're doing, we put you into a WhatsApp group with people at the same level that you are, and you're all sharing the experience. And then we have a mentor program where the mentors are previous students who've come back to be mentors, which is lovely because they've been where you are. So they know when you've got to put an assignment in or you've got to study for an exam. There are 2 externally set exams. You've got to study for those. They've been there, done that, and they can share the journey with you. With so much success, it's quite good because you're talking about the Excellence Awards, and we actually were really proud to have the Student of the Year last year winning an Excellence Award. That was Hayley. She won. She was a brilliant student. She's also works in college herself, so she was fantastic. She did really well on the course and was an actual joy to work with. So that was brilliant for us. We had 100 certificated trichologists this year, so we've got 100 trichologists there, and then we've got lots of 5-star reviews. So we're really proud of our reviews on Trustpilot. Everybody seems to give us really good feedback and enjoying the course. So long may that last. And this is just a little bit of a thank you for today, which again we'll share with everybody. This is for anybody who's actually already got their level 3 or above. It's the conditions of the hair and scalp course, which we are going to give. We've opened it for a very small window as a free course for people, but there is quite a tight timeline to do that. And the reason for that is it's to do with the number of licenses we have. When we give anything free, everybody signs up, and if people don't complete it, it uses the licenses and stops somebody else coming on board. So I've got my email there, and it'll be email me directly, and I can share that with people. If anybody's interested in doing that, then we can do that for you. And this is our office. We're based in World's End Studios in London. So again, it's a really nice place to be, and they'll be quite, it's a nice place to go. And everything is online, so you don't have to come anywhere. We do offer a Milton Keynes. We've got some sessions going on there. We've got online sessions that go on. through the art. The art is the Association of Registered Trichologists, and they're where people go when they've completed. Their conference is coming up, if anyone wants a nice day out in London, and it's in London, in one of the clubs in London, in Pall Mall. So it's always a nice thing to go to talk about trichology. So that's kind of where we are. So does that help? Any questions?
Thank you. So thank you, Alison. If you stop sharing your slides, I've got a few questions for you to kick things off. So just start by clarifying that you have said on there that everybody will, you are giving, I've put your email address in here, you are giving a TrichoCare, are giving a one-off opportunity, a very short window for people to complete the hair and scalp conditions unit, which forms part of the full level 4 qualification. Is that correct?
That is, yeah. That's only if people who've got the level 3. If there are, because obviously looking at the people who are on the course, if the people who aren't, you've got my email there. If you maybe get your tutor to email me, we can see if we can do the introduction. I'm sure we'll be able to sort something out. Again, it's just a tight time window to get it through, and that's to do with number of licenses.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for everybody to you know, to have an opportunity to see what it's like. Now, you talked about how the course can be done remotely as well. Can you just give kind of an overview of the types of things you do and how you learn on the level 4 qualification, please?
Absolutely. So we use what's called the Litmus, which is an electronic system. So everything is on Litmus. All the resources you need are on there. You do get a personal one-to-one, you get an induction. It's sometimes it's one-to-one, sometimes group, and we try to fit it around what works for you. Once you're on the course, you do the first 3 modules. So you literally work your way through the modules, which is anatomy and physiology. So there's a lot of A&P in there. Then there's the conditions unit. There is an A&P exam, but people who have maybe got a beauty background or a complementary therapies background, you'll recognise a lot of the questions in it. And it's the VTCT, and it's set on Zoom. So what we do is we set the times, and then you come into a virtual classroom. We have an invigilator who's been working with us for 5 years. He likes to have a look around your room, make sure you're not doing anything, and then you sit your exams. So there are 2 exams. The second exam is your chemistry of hair and scalp exam. So there is another exam that goes with that. So there's 2 externally sat exams, and you book a time slot to sit those, and they're invigilated. And then we have assignments in there. So you start off, as I say, with you do a bit of introduction, you do anatomy and physiology, and then you'll start to do what we call, you have to do some practical. And how your practicals are done, they are done by, you'll start off, we do some scenarios first of all, so you get the idea of how they are. When you're doing your scenarios, you'll get your mentor, and your mentor will help you to start to build your practical up. And the idea is, it's a bit like what I say to people, it's a bit like doing your driving test. When you're doing this course, you are learning how to look at the scalp, what you're looking for, looking at the scalp conditions, what questions to ask, talking to the client, and starting to understand. And you're doing what you all do every day in a stylist or in a salon, is you hear one thing and you're in your brain just thinking, right, okay, that takes me down that route. Just like Meg was saying earlier about colour, you know, you look at it and you know where you're going with it, so you will learn. And it's progression progress. So you do 8 clients all together, but you will build those up as you go through. And as each part of the course, they'll get slightly more complex. You do need to find your own clients, but you can use a client more than once. But the idea of that is you actually get to see it yourself. That's why we ask people to bring their clients, and you're very much supported as you go through that. So there's a practical element, there's 2 written exams, and then there's some assignments as well. So the assignments, again, the assignment guides are on there for you. We will help you go through them. And once you get into your WhatsApp group, you get lots of great advice for people. I love the ones, we had one yesterday, we had an exam yesterday, and people coming out and go, oh, it's better than I thought it was. And they were all, you know, thrilled to bits, and people give tips, and we get lots of tips. Hayley's a great example. She gave a really good tips on how to study. She used to use little post-it notes and post them around everywhere with little keywords on all the technical words. So that's how people learn. And as I say, you're supported through it. It's a 1-year course, maximum 1 year. course, and we just build it through for you. So it's there to help you. Does that answer that
Excellent.
one?
And if anyone wants to see in more detail, because if you go on to the VTCT Skills website and put in the level 4, now you're going to
Trichology, yeah.
level 4 trichology. I was checking if it was there was any words before it. That will give you the breakdown of the structure in more detail, so you'll see the range and the criteria and things. But I think if there's anyone on this call that's interested in exploring trichology, either for their own personal development as a teacher, or ultimately potentially as a college who's looking to deliver it as a qualification as well, then this is an essential starting point, isn't it? They need to get that information. So I've put your email address in here, into the chat for everybody, and we will share this information afterwards. But just to reiterate, if anybody wants to access the amazing opportunity to do the unit that TrichoCare are offering, you need to email Alison directly, not myself or Mark. Don't get me wrong, if you do email us, we will forward it on to Alison. Yeah. But also just to remind you that it's a very short window as well. It's 10 days, isn't it, from now that they have to register for
10th of February. Yeah. So they can register for it, and then it needs to be done by the 1st of March. It's a licensing issue, so that's why we did it once before, but we've never actually done this course before. We used to do the smaller courses, and this is the first time we've done this one. But I think anybody teaching hair or beauty, and again, you're teaching it gives you that, it's great CPD on the conditions of the hair and scalp, which we used to do much more in depth in the hairdressing qualifications, but not so much now. But the problems we're seeing, we've seen lots post COVID. There's lots of people who've had scalp issues and hair issues post COVID with long COVID, and it's fascinating, and it changes all the time. So we're always there looking and learning, and it is a community. That's what I think is important. We don't just do the qualification and let people go. They can join the art, they can come to there's lots of online meetings, and they discuss case studies, which again is really useful for people.
Yeah, and I think going back to the community, hair and scalp conditions is the one thing that everybody really wants to learn more about. So what better way to learn more about it than to undertake this opportunity with TrichoCare? So if there are no questions for Alison, somebody's already sent you an email. There we go. Thank you, Kate, for that. If there are no more questions for Alison, I'm going to say thank you, Alison, for joining us.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your time, everybody. Appreciate it.
And thank you also to the team at TrichoCare, to Nick and to Brian, who have very kindly put together this special offer for us today. So thank you, everybody, and I will hand you back to Mark.
Wow, that was fantastic. Two really great guests there. So massive thanks to Meg for that brilliant demonstration, and also there for Alison talking about that level 4 qualification. We do get a lot of colleges say to us, oh, what can we give our students to do after doing level 3? Well, that may be an avenue that you may want to go down, that level 4 trichology qualification. So we've just got a few announcements that we'd like to share with you. The first one is all about the AHT, the competitions. We've got there the dates for the entries on the right hand side, and these are going on in the different areas there. So you can see we had the first one yesterday. And because VTCT are one of the main sponsors for the AHT for this year, you will be seeing our colleagues judging on the competitions. So, for example, Nicola was in Scotland yesterday. Nicola, do you want to just give us a little kind of a taste of what it was like yesterday? Just an overview.
Yeah, this is my 3rd year judging in the AHT. I absolutely love it, actually, and I judge all over the country. So I did the Scottish one last week, which was held in New College, Lanark. There were over 280 students entered in that competition. So, and that was from 14 to 16 all the way through up to your level 3 across hairdressing, barbering, and all of the beauty aspects as well. Standard, I'm not being biased, but we were in Scotland. Standard was phenomenal. But it's just great to see, I think, the students really putting themselves out there. It's great for their confidence, the standard of work. Something that's changed this year quite a bit within the competitions is quite a lot of the briefs have been updated. So the types of looks and the judging briefs as to what they are expected to do. So there's things like high fashion, Vogue front covers, catwalk looks. There's lots and lots of different. There's also a new competition this year on textured hair, which is fantastic to see. That was really exciting to judge, to see the types of looks that people were coming up to with textured hair. So as always, it's great to see as many of you entering, and we're all over the country. And, you know, I jest, but the quality of hairdressing students, barbering students, and beauty therapy students, makeup, nails, across the entire UK, we see fantastic talent across all of the colleges, across all of the country. So we really urge you to put your students forward if you've not already, and get entering the AHT. And hopefully I will see some of you there.
Brilliant. And so just on the screen there, you'll be able to see we've got the Welsh area, Northwest, Southwest, Jersey and Guernsey, Midlands, Northeast, and the Southern area. And if you want more details about that, then it's on the website, which is www.aht-uk.com. But they also have as well the annual awards. So you can send in your nominations, and those nominations are for Exceptional Student of the Year, supporting the training of apprenticeships, showing outstanding employer engagement, excellent support for student and trainees, individual tutor, trainer of the year, and then exceptional teamwork. So make sure you get your entries in for those, because that gives you the opportunity and your students to enter those competitions, and that can bring some real kudos to you and your training organization. The other announcement that we've got to make is about the VTCT Excellence Awards. I have got a little video here, and I'm not sure that the sound's going to work. So just to kind of preempt that, so I'll just put that on and we'll see if it does play the sound. Yes, I do apologize for the sound there, but overall, hopefully you got the idea. The idea of the Excellence Awards really is to champion excellence across all of our sectors. So as many of you will know, VTCT Skills, we go across sectors as hairdressing, barbering, but we also do logistics, we health and social care, and early years. So we're actively encouraging you to enter into these excellent awards, because we really want to celebrate and recognise educators, learners, apprentices, colleges and training providers. Now, the deadline to get your entries in is on the 7th of March. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the QR code up there. So if you scan that QR code and have a look at the entries, and we would really actively encourage you to get an entry in. So obviously some of the categories are for students, for educators, for training providers, for colleges, etc. And if you do get your entry in and you do get selected, then on Thursday, the 3rd of July, at Oaklands College in Welwyn Garden City, we are going to be having a massive event there to celebrate the 2025 Excellence Awards. So please scan that QR code. Please get your entries in, because we would love to see you at that event on the 3rd of July. So coming back to another announcement, this year, coming into 25, Nicola and I are back out on the road again. And we are back out with our collective live events. Hopefully some of you have been able to join us. If you haven't, we've got some more dates coming up. So we have next week, we're very excited to be going to Birmingham. So we're at the University College there in Birmingham. Then on the 13th of February, we're at the North Kent College. And then on the 12th of March, we are at the Reading College. So if you want to find out more details for that, and we will send you this again, but the details are on the VTCT website. And if you just type into the search engine, VTCT events, then that will bring you up to the page that has the collective live events. Nicola, is there anything that you want to say about what we're doing and some of the guests that we've got there?
Yeah, super excited to get back out there again. So we are kicking off in University College Birmingham. For hairdressing, we are joined by the wonderful Vivid specialist, Emma Dixon. Emma Dixon is based in the Birmingham area. You may or may not have seen her work. She's done a lot of work recently with Denman, because she's an ambassador for Denman. She works a lot with the How to Cut It platform with Dom Lehane. So she's fantastic. And Mark, who have you got for barbering?
I've got last year's Master Barber of the Year, James Wakely. And we're very excited about having James on stage with us because he is a fade specialist as well. So that's going to be one of the models that he's going to be doing. So what we do, Nicola, and this is true, isn't it, that we try to get local people that are really producing fantastic work. And in this case, both from the Midlands areas, we've got 2 guest artists that are producing some fantastic work at the moment.
And I forgot to say, actually, so Emma, I can't wait to see what Emma's doing. I really can't. I've had a big conversation with her, and she is combining 2 of our most talked about and requested topics in hairdressing. One of them is Vivids. So we've had Meg on today. Meg's been doing Vivids on tour for us. And the other one is hair extensions. So she's talking about and demonstrating a few different looks across those. And then we're moving further. This is where I show my poor geography. In February the 13th, we move down further to the south, don't we, to North Kent College. Really excited to be hosting an event there. And for hairdressing, we are joined by the fabulous George Newton-Beck. And this is, again, another example of the collective live bringing to the audience regional, relatable, aspirational guest artists. So George is part of the Cloud9 youth team. Well, he was part of the Cloud9 youth team. He's now progressed to be a mentor for the youth team, and himself has only he's only 21, and he's just not long completed his level 3 apprenticeship, but he is doing some fantastic work out there. We've had him on stage for us at Salon International. He's done all of the Cloud9 latest campaigns. He's done all sorts of things. They're fantastic young up and coming talent, and that's great for students to see, you know, that somebody who is just finishing there, has just finished their apprenticeship, is getting these opportunities to do platform work, because that's the route he wants to go down. And to come back to our partners on this, which are Hairdressers Journal, Denman and Cloud9, Cloud9 are actually offering the opportunity for one person from any college in the UK that's attended the tour to win a place on the Cloud9 art team. And I have just saw a lovely comment from Westrow Academy there, because you're right, George was one of your students. That's where he completed his level 3 apprenticeship. He's an asset and a credit to your academy, and he's certainly a great advocate for us here at VTCT as well. He's actually part of our VTCT skills campaign as well. It all started with VTCT, so he's talking about how his career has taken him with his qualification. And Barbering, so he's actually doing Reading as well. So Mark, who have we got to look forward to for Barbering?
So we have the wonderful Phil Jarman. Phil is a global ambassador for Gamma Clippers. He's also a salon owner, but he's also a Grand Master barber and educator. So the quality, you know, that we're getting at the collective live events is just absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't been on one yet, we've changed the format, so it is shorter, it's more intense, but you do get more education. So yeah, if you haven't come and joined us, check out those dates. We would really love to see you there. They are free, so just go onto the website again, book your ticket. We do ask that everybody that comes books their ticket individually, and you will have a great kind of morning stroke afternoon of education.
It is open to your students as well. Sorry, just to add that, if you are a lecturer watching this and you would love to bring your students along, students are welcome. University College Birmingham is sold out, but I think there's a waiting list for it, but there are still some tickets for North Kent and Reading College. So yeah, get onto the media page of VTCT Skills website and get your places booked.
Yeah, and also just while we're talking about the Collective Live, a big shout out to our sponsors. We have Hairdressers Journal, we have Denman, and we also have Cloud9. And the great thing about that is everybody that comes does get a goodie bag. There are opportunities to win some fantastic prizes, for the one that Nicola mentioned, but Denman also give away college kits to colleges, and also key rings for students, and we get products and other goodies from Cloud9. So it really is worth coming to see us. If this is your first time with us today, we would love you to follow us. So here are our handles and our email addresses. So there's Nicola's there, Nicola Steinbach at VTCT Skills, and then also there's mine at VTCT Skills as well. And what we always say as well is, if you follow us, particularly, for example, on Instagram, if you share your work with us or your students' work with us, we will always like it and repost it as well. So it's an opportunity for your students to start getting their work out there as well. So we you know, just let us know. You can always message us to tell us that you've got students that are putting their work out there, and we would love to reshare that as well, because we want them to be part of our community as well. So before we wrap up today's online collective, can I just ask if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask either myself or Nicola before we close up the event? You can pop them in the chat if you've got any questions. If not, please feel free to reach out to either of us, and that can be anything to do with the collective. So we got Janet saying thank you, have a great day. Okay, that's brilliant. So what we'll do is we will wrap up. Our next event is on the 19th of February. So we would obviously love to see you there. If you're coming to any of the events, we would love to see you there. A big thank you and a big shout out to all the lecturers that brought students this morning. We really hope that you've enjoyed it. We're getting lots of thank yous coming in. So yeah, we really appreciate you being part of the collective community. Nicola.
Sorry, I'm too busy trying to like everybody's messages. Yeah, as Mark said, thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you've enjoyed everything that we have brought you today. And we will hopefully see you on a tour somewhere. And if not, be here again on the 19th of February for our next meeting. Have a super, super day, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.